Well, turning now to Ottawa, where the Prime Minister's National Security Advisor is speaking out about the person who leaked sensitive information about attempted Chinese interference. This from an exclusive interview Jody Thomas gave to Catherine Cullen on CBC Radio's The House. It is Thomas's first interview since she took up the role last year. The host of The House, Catherine Cullen, joins us now from Ottawa. Catherine, what did Thomas tell you about the leaker?
Well, Natalie, she said that she cannot accept that there is any benefit to leaking this security information. In fact, she called the move incredibly disturbing. Now, you'll recall that these stories first started emerging from both Global News and the Globe and Mail late last year, making allegations about Chinese regime attempted interference in this country. They relied on unnamed sources and in some cases leaked security documents. And in the case of the Globe and Mail, they actually published an article at one point, something written by one of the people who was leaking this information. The source said that they were doing this because they believed that officials were ignoring serious warnings, serious information about interference. They said they didn't want to go to prison, but that they really believed that this was an issue in the national interest. So when I sat down with Jody Thomas, I said, given the fact that we are having a conversation now that many acknowledge was needed about the state of the security apparatus in Canada, do you still believe that the people, the individual or individuals who are leaking this information, should they be found out and prosecuted? She was very quick to say yes. In fact, she suggested that these individuals, not only were they unaware of what was going on, but they were perhaps seeking notoriety, which is remarkable given that we don't know their names. They haven't been released publicly. Here's more of what Jody Thomas had to say in this exclusive interview.
The law has been broken. Sources, techniques have been put at risk. Our credibility with Five Eyes allies has been put at risk. There are better ways of doing this. There are better ways of raising your concerns within a national security agency. There are better ways of trying to bring some light to this topic than risking Canada's national security.
You believe it should happen? Do you believe it will happen?
That the person will be found? I do.
Now, I'd note there one of the things she says that is quite remarkable. She talked about putting our credibility with our Five Eyes security allies, so countries like the UK and the United States. She says that has been put at risk by this process. I also asked her how quickly she thought this individual or these individuals would be found, and she said that she didn't have any information she could share about that. Natalie.
Interesting. We will have to wait and see for that. But what did Thomas say about the concerns this is raising about Canadian intelligence systems?
She did acknowledge over the course of the conversation, and as you can imagine, it was a big focus of what we talked about, that changes are indeed needed. She says that the accountability is on bureaucrats in terms of, the information that is gathered by agencies like CSIS, RCMP, CSE. She says that intelligence is good, but the bureaucrats need to do a better job of giving advice to the government. She said she never had any problem getting the attention of politicians, including the Prime Minister, when it came to issues of national security. She talked about the need for more protections for diaspora communities in this country, but also said, Canada can do very little about what actually happens in China when it comes to threatening their families and whatnot. And finally, I asked her about the next election, whether Canadians could feel secure about it. She was adamant that the protections around elections are robust and secure, and that while she wouldn't speculate on the timing of the next federal election, that Canadians ought to feel secure about voting. So more of that conversation Saturday on The House.